Hello and welcome to today's video. So I'm sure you heard from other members of this class that on Monday they did an ed puzzle, and I'm treating it kind of like a review, but also kind of like a quiz. But this is a quiz where you can use your notes. So what I would suggest doing is get out your notes. That may include diagrams, may also include the chart that you filled out at the beginning of this unit. So go ahead and pause the video now and get that stuff out. All right, so first things first, we're going to take a look at these two diagrams. So we're looking at the human body, which is in anatomical position right here. And right here, we're looking at it from the front and from the back. All right, so first we need to classify what these views are. So hopefully you remember your anatomical terms for the position. So in this one over here, we're looking at the body from behind, okay, looking at the back. So think of whenever we were using the directional terms, when we were saying that something was behind something else. So what will we call this view based off of that? And hopefully you said the posterior view. So we could use posterior, we could also say dorsal. Those two words can be used interchangeably. They mean the same thing. Basically, it means that in this case, we're looking at the human body from behind. Okay, we're looking at all the structures that you would find in the posterior portion of it. Now, on the other side over here on the left, we have a view from the front. So now we're looking at the body from the front. So also think about what we would say if we were talking about a structure that is in front of something else. What would we call that? Okay, so what would we call this view where we're looking at the body from the front? And hopefully you said the anterior view. Okay, so just like with posterior or dorsal, we could say anterior for the front or ventral. Again, those two words can be used interchangeably. So moving on, what's going to happen now is I am going to provide 5 different muscles that you are going to need to give me some information on. So I'm going to point it out, and then you have to name it. You have to identify the location using the anatomical regions. You need to indicate the joint that is moved by this muscle, as well as the movement that the muscle provides at that certain joint. So let's get started. Our first muscle here is right here in the chest, very large muscle. As you can see, it attaches up here to the clavicle, over here to the to the sternum and some of the ribs, and then it comes over here and attaches to the humerus. Okay, so what is the name of this muscle? And hopefully you said the pectoralis major. So the next question in regards to this muscle is, what region is this right here? Okay, we could say right here, or we could also say right here for the other pectoralis major muscle on the body. So what region does the pectoralis major exist in on the human body? The next question that I have for you is, what joint is going to be moved by our pectoralis major muscle? So a clue is going to be the location of the muscle, obviously, as well as the location of where the muscle fibers are attached to. So you can see how the pectoralis major attaches up here to the clavicle and over here to the sternum, and then to the humerus down here. So what you're going to need to figure out is what joint is located in between the points here and the point here. That's going to give you a clue as to which joint is being moved. So go ahead and answer that question now. All right, now what will probably be a little bit more of a tougher question. What action does the pectoralis major perform at this joint? So how does it move? And that concludes muscle number 1. All right, so we're gonna move on to our next muscle, our second out of our 5. And now we're looking at this muscle right here, this really large, that takes up lots of space here, the muscle on this side and the muscle on this side. So what is the name of this muscle that we would find on the posterior side of our body? And hopefully you said the latissimus dorsi. So the next question that I have, just like with the pectoralis major, is what region is the latissimus dorsi located in? So we already know that this is the posterior portion of the body. All right, so what is the name of the anatomical region in which the latissimus dorsi is found? The next question that I have for you is what joint does the latissimus dorsi move? So just like with the pectoralis major, I want you to figure out where it attaches to. So we can see that it attaches right here to the vertebrae as well as the sacrum. And then it comes up here and attaches to the humerus. So what joint is found in between those two places? And therefore would be the one that moves. Go ahead and answer this question now. And the final question for the latissimus dorsi is what action does it perform at this joint? How does it move this joint? Muscle number 3. And muscle number 3 is going to represent a group of muscles. So we have one muscle here, and then we can see this other one that is poking out from behind. So this is a group of 3 muscles that is located on the thigh, on the posterior side of the thigh. So what is this group of muscles called? Hopefully you said the hamstrings. Okay, so the hamstrings are these 3 muscles, the biceps femoris, the semitendinosus, and then behind it, the semimembranosus. Okay, so those 3 muscles make up the hamstrings. What region is this group of muscles found in? So I already said thigh, but obviously that's not an anatomical region term. So what is the name for the proper anatomical region here for the thigh? What joint does this muscle move? I'll give you a hint. This muscle can actually move 2 different joints, but there is only going to be one correct answer out of the choices that you are given. So keep that in mind when you're answering this. So out of the choices that you're given, which of those 4 joints does the hamstring actually move? Then finally, considering that specific joint, how does the hamstrings move that joint? How does it move that joint? On to muscle number 4. So we're back over on the anterior portion of the body. This time, we are actually looking at our upper limb. So the anterior portion of the upper limb, right up here, this bulging muscle. What is the name of that muscle? And hopefully you said the biceps brachii, one of the most noticeable, recognizable muscles in the human body. All right, so what region is the biceps brachii located in? Okay, what anatomical region do we say that the biceps brachii is located in? Further, what joint does the biceps brachii move? What joint does the biceps brachii move? And finally, how does the biceps brachii move that joint? What action does this muscle perform at this joint? And moving on to our final number 5 muscle. Now we are looking right here again at the anterior portion of our human body. And we're looking at the six-pack. So what name do we give this muscle right here that if you exercise it enough, gives you a nice, lean looking six-pack? Hopefully you said the rectus abdominis. So the rectus abdominis is the muscle here. It's the whole muscle, okay? It's covered, as we can see, by an aponeurosis that helps to connect the external obliques together. But underneath all of that, we would find the rectus abdominis. What region is the rectus abdominis located in here, okay? This whole region right here, what is the name of that region? Further, how does the rectus, what joint does the rectus abdominis move? And I'll give you a hint. It's actually a bunch of different joints. Okay, what joints does the rectus abdominis move? And how does the rectus abdominis move said joints? What is the action that the rectus abdominis performs at that set of joints? Okay, so we have reached the end of this video. Hopefully you knew every single question. And if you didn't, maybe it's time that you should review. Not just for your own sake, but also for the sake of the video that you're putting together using this information, okay? But that is all for this video. Hopefully, as I said, you knew the majority of this, but this is stuff that you can use for your workout video.